So first, I want to start asking you about this long time coming. 10 years into your career, after four studio albums and many, many messages have come to Brazil later, it is finally happening. Churches is coming. And I want to know, what are your expectations for this big event?
Ooh, I mean, we are so excited. We've been trying, as you say, for years to get to come play for our fans in Brazil. So we're really excited to finally be doing that, and very grateful to Coldplay for taking us on this adventure with them. But I've heard only wonderful things about music fans in Brazil. So everyone said that you guys are the most passionate, most generous, nicest people. So we're very excited to finally get to go. Like, I just, for years I've wanted to and never been able to. So this 2023, it only took us a decade of being a band to get to do it. But here we are.
In addition to two solo performances in Rio and São Paulo, you also have an extensive opening schedule for Coldplay, as you mentioned. And how this invitation happened, and how do you prepare yourself and the band for such an intense routine like this, especially in front of a live audience that has never seen you before?
I'll get a little worried about it. Once a day, I will worry about it because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of shows. But then, I don't know. I always quite like the challenge of those things. I think that it seems that Coldplay's fan base would be very generous anyway, especially in Brazil. So I feel like if I can just look at it as a fun challenge to see if we can connect with people over music, then that's a nice way to look at it. But I'm also really excited to watch those shows. Like, every night after we've played, we get to watch Coldplay in a stadium with people who will be so fucking excited about it. And I think that that's just going to be a lovely thing to do. But yeah, we just got the offer on an email, and we were like, is this a prank? What does this mean? Do they really want us to do this? So yes, we're really excited to be finally coming through.
Around the same time that you guys are going to be here, also Paramore is going to be performing as well. And I'm just going to throw out there, maybe you can hang out together.
With your
Oh,
fans.
well, we know them from, we did the Paramore cruise in, I think, 2016, maybe, I think. So yes, they're so lovely and so wonderful. And that new record is so good. I am sad and jealous that I won't be able to see the Paramore show. I'm like, why are we working on the same night? This doesn't make sense. But yes, I feel like it just feels really nice to me that, obviously, I feel like Paramore have always been very beloved, but especially with this new album, it feels like they're really just leveling up into a different level of legacy for them. And I think that's wonderful.
You guys also shared what I assume to be the closure for this screen violence era, a song called titled Over. I mean, what can you tell us about this song in particular, and if we can expect anything else besides this track?
I think we know we are going to make a fifth record. We just don't know what it'll be yet or when it will be. But yeah, we had this song, and it felt exciting to put out. Like, we always hold off until we have a full record. And for this, it seemed a bit crazy to do that. Why would we had this song, why would we sit on it for an indeterminate amount of time? So yeah, I like to think about it as Over as a little miniature era between screen violence and whatever the next thing will be. And people have been very kind about it so far. So hopefully we'll rehearse it enough that we can play it in Brazil. That's my hope. I would say I can 70% promise it. Unless something terrible happens, I think it should be ready to play for those shows. And that'll be fun, to make a set list that's a good mixture of all the eras.
Oh, that would be incredible.
My first contact with your music was back in high school. I was in my senior year, and I've been listening to CHVRCHES albums since then. What is it like to have fans that have been with you all this time, like a lifetime long?
Sometimes I feel like 10 years of being in a band is impossible because it doesn't feel like that long. But then when I look at it, there are people that come to the shows or we see online who, as you say, were in high school when they found the band. And I feel this kind of strange maternal thing about a lot of the fans, because I'll see them have gotten to college, and then you'll see them get jobs, and then you see them have kids, and you see them come out, and you see all these different eras of people's lives. And I think it's just a real privilege to be able to be involved in that, and for us to have had such a dedicated fan base who have really gone on a journey with us and let us go on a journey with them, So yeah, that. But yeah, sometimes when people are like, oh, I used to listen to you in college, I'm like, I am as old as time. But yes, it's a privilege to get to do that, I think.
Well, I know that Screen Violence was written and recorded in the worst days of the pandemic from a distance. I would like to know, were you excited to get in the same room again and produce new stuff? And if the dynamic has changed in any way when it comes to producing?
I guess that will be the challenge of the next section of whatever it is CHVRCHES makes, because over we technically still did it mostly remotely. So Oscar Holter, the producer we worked with, wasn't living in Los Angeles, and Iain from the band was living in Scotland, and everybody was in different places. So that song was still made sort of in a pandemic fashion. But yeah, I think whatever we make next, I think it will be something that we all make in the studio together. And I do think there is a very specific chemistry to that you don't get when you work remotely. But I do think that Screen Violence in some ways benefited from everybody being in their own sort of isolation, especially for the lyrics. I think that it was nice for me to have the space from everybody else to write what I wanted, figure out what I wanted to write in that space. And I think sometimes I find that a lot harder when everybody's in the same room, and it's just harder to get the mental and emotional space to do that. So I feel bad saying I enjoyed it, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it for that specific style of writing. And I think whatever we make next, I don't think will be like that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah, we're conscious that whatever we make next does need to move the conversation forward in some way. And I guess that's always the challenge of every album, is like, well, what's it going to be? And you can't rush figuring out what that is. So yes, I'm ready. I'm waiting for the inspiration to fall on my head and tell me what it should be. And then we'll start making it. But I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
My last question now. I'm sure that working with Robert Smith must have felt like a dream and also a big realization for you guys. But is there any other legend that you would like to work with in the future?
Oh man. I really don't know. I feel like after Robert Smith, who's been such a profound influence on the sound of our band and all of us as individuals, like I don't know how we top that. So I think, I don't know, with features and things, we always try and take it on a case-by-case basis. And yeah, who knows? If the right thing came along that just felt right, then we would do it. But at this point, I don't know. I think if there ever was a wish list, then Robert has he was always going to be the top of the wish list. So I wonder, I don't know. If you have suggestions, then tell me and we'll tweet them.
I'm just going to say Elizabeth Fraser.
Oh, I mean, I would definitely be happy to sit at the side and Elizabeth Fraser could sing instead of me. I think that would be fine.
Well, that's it. I think my time is coming up. Thank you very much. This meant a lot to me, and I can't wait to see the performances. I'm gonna be there. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening to the tunes, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you